Yo, you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. We are back. It's your right side of campus. We're live Tuesday, December 12th, 2017. I'm your host, the big man on campus. Here with my co-host, Donnie RightSide. Donnie, it's Tuesday. A lot went on last night. Lots to talk about today. I got your coffee ready, your pancakes, whatever you're having for breakfast. If you're healthy, little fruit. We're here. We're live. Donnie, how you doing today?
Doing good, watching a little bit of NFL football last night, some surprising outcomes last night. But if you watched yesterday on the show, did I think the New England Patriots would win that football game? I absolutely did. But if you listened, there was no way they were winning that football game and covering the spread. I thought they'd win anywhere between 7 to 10 points, but Miami took it to them. But again, gets back to betting shots in the NFL, betting instances where the team doesn't need the game. Both Pittsburgh last week, I took the Ravens on Sunday Night Football because Pittsburgh didn't need that football game. Same way last night. Would have been nice if New England went down and beat Miami Dolphins. Sure, it would be. Doesn't matter. Next week, big game on deck. We'll talk about that in a little bit, Jeff.
Yep, and they didn't even win the game, let alone
Nope.
cover. You got to get a lead before you cover 12 or 10 or 11 points. So they didn't do that. But we'll get into it in a little bit. We welcome everyone in listening out there, the listening audience around the world. We welcome you in. We ask you like the show, hit that little thumbs up button, and if you're new, subscribe, comment. We try to answer. I try to answer every little comment we get. Make sure you do that. Donnie, I always see new listeners here, and I think it's great.
Hmm?
Obviously, we just got to build the base. And I urge you, if you're new, check out what the site has to offer, SPRpicks.com. A lot of great blogs, a lot of great info as always, links to the daily schedule. You can check out Sportsbook Review, which rates sportsbooks. Every day, someone hits me up asking me about what books I like, what books I use. Sportsbook Review rates them. They give you the best of the best, where to go get the best bonuses, all sorts of stuff. Make sure you're using sportsbookreview.com when you're in the market for a book because, Donnie, when you're doing that, you want to make sure you get the best bonuses and stuff, right? I mean, you don't want to, you go into it just not sure what you're doing. Make sure you're learning from the best at Sportsbook Review. Uh, Donnie, we jump into the morning headlines basically to check out what went on yesterday. It's kind of like our CNN part of the show. We just chat about some things going on in the world of sports and, well, really sports, not really anything else. We start out, Donnie. The Balls are headed to play basketball somewhere. It's exciting time for them. Problem is, it's probably not the best place to go, but they're going to play basketball. They're going to Lithuania, Donnie. Donnie, first of all, do you know where Lithuania is? Do you know where that is?
I'm obviously somewhere overseas. I'll leave it at that.
So you're not aware of like where it is. You just know it's in Europe somewhere.
No, I know the
Uh,
name, and that's all I know.
okay. Well, the Bulls are headed to the Lithuanian Basketball League, and as I read more and more into the story, uh, Donnie, there's a basketball league in Lithuania, the LKL, basically the Lithuania Basketball League, and then there's a more minor league, the Baltic League, which features different Baltic teams, blah 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 blah. It's kind of like the Champions League in a way. Basically, they put different teams from different countries in a pool, and they play against each other. According to what I've read, they're going to this team. They're going to play in a B team. They're not going to make very much money. But Donnie, the ploy in this is they're not under the tutelage of the NCAA. They can play basketball. They can make a ton of money from their big baller brand clothing line, and get paid a very small amount here. But the, the the big key here, Donnie, is they're not going necessarily to just play basketball. They're going to make all the money that they've already made from big baller brand, and that's going to be how they make money. That's the key in all this. That's what people are not understanding. How is their father going to take them out of UCLA? Because they can't make money at UCLA. They can make money in this, and in a fledgling business that's making money, you want to go and make money, Donnie, in a place like this. Listen, it's not the best league in the world. I'm not going to say that, but it is a very good league. This is a league filled with good players. There's not a ton of Americans here, but it's all about gritting your teeth, getting better in basketball. They're going to Lithuania. They're going to get better at basketball. The middle one's not going to play long term anyway. So he's just going to basically, I don't know what he's actually going for, but the young one, he needs to get better. He needs to learn by going to Lithuania. I think they have a decent opportunity here. What are your thoughts, Donnie? You read into this at
Yeah,
all?
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it, just from from an outsider looking in on this, and not because the one kid got in trouble at UCLA. How good's he going to be? That whole theory they want to all get to the NBA. You've told me a lot. I haven't seen the middle kid play that much Jello ball, as they like to call him. But the one I worry about is the younger one, which seems to have on that talent plane of Lonzo of heading to the NBA with a realistic shot at it. The one thing when you're that young, Jeff, uprooting, sending your kid overseas in that environment, sometimes that maturation process that you get going through high school, going to your prom, interacting with kids, and you're in that LA area, so you're already dealing with stardom to try to, bounce it back and get used to it, answering questions. Then you would take that genuine step, even if he graduated high school, Jeff, and they sent him overseas also to China, Lithuania, wherever he would be going. I think it would be better. I'm just a little bit worried that maybe the kid is too young to go overseas. I mean, it's not really obviously English language is not going to be primary over there. From what I understand, it's a very small town they're going to. I just question the youngest kid going over there as opposed to the middle kid, Jeff.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with what you're saying there. Here, this needs to be made clear, though. I think there has to be much oversight here. You can't just send these two over and say, "Okay, have fun." Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna have bodyguards there. I'm sure it's gonna be quite, kind of like anything else they do. But again, I hear what you're saying. The kid's 16 years old. He's basically being thrown into becoming a man. You're gonna be playing with 30-year-olds. Listen, to me, it's the best way to get better at something and grow what you're doing. But you're right. You're definitely right with that. We'll see how it goes. I have a feeling it's not going to last too long,
No.
personally. I heard someone, I forget, on one of the national shows make a point. If you're LeVar Ball, which we're not, we don't claim to be. I do like the guy. I like him more on a personal level. Some of his moves, business wise, are kind of odd. This is one where I could see a different outcome for at least the younger one. If you're the younger one, why not say to him, let's see what IMG Academy has to offer, or what one of these prep schools has to offer. I feel like that might be a better move. For instance, Donnie, when I was in high school, I had a kid that I knew named Lamar Patterson. He played at McCaskey High School. He actually plays. I played for the Hawks. He now plays in Europe. But when we were younger, this program couldn't offer him what other programs could. He made the decision to leave where we lived, go to St. Benedict's in New Jersey, and play for that group.
Yeah.
They went to the NBA. Donnie, not one other McCaskey basketball players ever went to the NBA other than him. Okay. So again, sometimes you have to make decisions. Maybe that might not be good as far as for you, but you got to do it for the sake of the brand or what you're doing it for. And again, I would have maybe done that route if I'm the younger one, but again, his dad makes the decisions. We move on, Donnie. Couple of NFL network talent are in a little hot water here, Donnie. It seems like every day, whether we're in entertainment or in the world of sports, someone is being um, you know, suspended or whatever over sexual harassment allegations. And now you have a big pool of players here, including Marshall Falk, Donovan McNabb, Warren Sapp. Lot of people involved here, Donnie. This seems like a regular occurrence anymore, doesn't it? Mario Batali yesterday I saw was pinched for this. Amazing.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, when it's disrespectful to say it's the flavor of the month topic, but we see this coming down the path. The minute like one of the, Weinstein goes down and Matt Lauer goes down, that change just trickles down because, people are human beings in every walk of life, whether you're a professional athlete, whether you're in power, not in power. This goes on day to day. The same way we see, Jeff, online, kids getting bullied out there. That goes on day to day. You just don't hear about it in most instances. But now that there's a platform out there where people will believe you saying, you know what, that first, linchpin went down, it's only the tip of the iceberg here because sometimes, especially with NFL players or players that have been, and again, you know what, I shouldn't even use that walk of life. People in a power position, professional athletes, boardroom members, your boss, your manager, everybody's trying to survive in the world and make a little bit of money out there. But when you have that power, like you tell me this, an assistant who gets a wardrobe ready, that person in power, Warren Sapp, who we already know is, a questionable character at best, but you're going to be able to take some liberties because at the end of the day, that person who really needs that job, Jeff, Who are they going to believe more if Warren Sapp says, you know what? I'm going to keep on making passes at you. You're not making passes at me. I'll go right up the chain. One word from me to the higher ups here, and you're out of here. And that does scare people in those lower positions, which is why you see all the time these people in the power positions getting in trouble, because when they have that juice, they tend to use it. And that's what people get off on, doing that stuff. And it's only the tip of the iceberg here, Jeff.
And Donnie, the problem nowadays is whether you did it or not, your name is
Guilty.
still going to be mentioned
Yeah.
among sexual
Mhm.
assault, sexual harassment, all that sort of thing. So again, you're we're in the climate now where even if someone says you did it, doesn't mean if you did or didn't do it. And that's one of the things you have to deal with nowadays. You know what I mean? It's definitely, and that's why for me, like I don't really I need to see more with a lot of this stuff. If, with any criminal case or any case like this, you have to definitely do your due diligence. Um, you know, I don't know what happened here. I can't say I do. Obviously, we know what happened with Harvey Weinstein, people like him. But this is just really, some kind of hearsay or I guess accusal. We'll see what happens. But yeah, everyone's being involved with this all of a sudden.
Yeah.
One other thing, Donnie, interesting little story here, kind of relates to what we're doing. I saw yesterday that the largest football pool, survivor pool in America, Donnie, was taken down by the feds. How about this? Feds seized documentation, cash, and it's nice to see they continue to go after the big boys in the business, Donnie. I'm not sure why they're not out fighting terrorism and stuff like that. I guess the main goal is to shut down football pools that most of America enjoy and have fun with.
Yeah.
Their goal, though, is to knock them down. 23,000 entries, Donnie, in this little pool here. 2.5 million as far as collective value. This was a nice little football pool, Donnie. They're pulling it down. And according to some of the people in it, you know, you look at kind of the level of what they go after anymore. The shutdown is the biggest pool bust since 2010, Donnie, when prosecutors in New Jersey arrested a school teacher named John Bovary for running a $100 per entry survivor pool that had roughly 8,000 entries. He was charged with promoting gambling and money laundering. So, I mean, Donnie, again, I mean, bigger fish to fry, I feel like, no?
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me bringing up stuff for like Rick Neuheisel back in Washington, where he was in hot water with the NCAA football because he did a bowl pool himself. It's the archaic, gambling is bad. Take it back to the Roman times and slap your hands. And if somebody puts a bet down, that means all college kids are going to shave points out there. The whole Bill Bradley, let me get through PASPA, which is just ancient and archaic, and is going to be struck down hopefully pretty soon. But you're right. Is this hurt? Like, who are we hurting here? Let's just say there's 23,000 people and 2.5 million. So roughly $100 or so in the bowl pool. Maybe they had to give an extra five just for maintenance or whatever. So the guy running the pool is going to make a little bit, but somebody's going to win that pool and pull down a ton of money. And obviously somewhere, Jeff, that's going to ruin families. And let's not forget about, well, they win the money, it's not taxed. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. The guy who's paying the $100, Jeff, he probably works a day job that was already taxed income, and it's his $100 that he wants to put in. But yet, Jeff, we're going to allow people to say, you know what? For a game of chance, let's just say, when you're playing a suicide pool, you need a lot of breaks to go your way. It's really hard to win that. And it takes a lot of, good luck in that one. Let's just say you win that. But you're telling me we can't do that and pay $100 for that. But you will let me spend unlimited funds on scratch-off tickets that we have no proof can ever win any money, and you'll let me play Powerball out there, which is like 1 in 5 trillion for me to win that. But you'll let me spend, if I wanted to, $3,000 on lottery tickets, but I can't have fun with my friends and maybe win a little bit of money in a
The,
pool. You're
the
right. Where's the priority?
backwardsness of these gambling laws are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I can go to bingo and waste all my money at 80 years old, where I'm not getting much money to begin with. I can go to bingo and waste it all. I can go to lotteries and buy. Donnie, when I was really young, when I was like 16, I worked in a store that sold lottery tickets, and I remember the people that come in there. I mean, people that, I mean, they would win $100, they'd get happy, but they'd spend 300 to win the 100. I mean, it's ridiculous. And again, you look at the rules here. If they weren't making money off the pool, it'd be surely not illegal. But again, I mean, they are making money off of an illegal source. Keep in mind, though, um, like you said, the laws are backwards. I don't see what the problem is here. But again, to me, they're a bigger fish to fry, Donnie. We have things going on in this country that we've never seen before, and we're all worried about. These guys are worried about busting up a little football pool. I mean, come on.
Maybe what they're worried about, Jeff, is at the end, like American Gangster, where they had Big Al's bookie. They went and got the money. Were they going to turn it in? Crooked cops, they're going to kill you if you turn that money in. They turned in $1 million. Now they're lepers. Nobody wants to work with me, Richie. You know what I mean?
Right. Amen. If you're out there, please, if you're on Twitter, retweet the show. Get that out to as many people as we can. Again, when we retweet it, it goes to our followers. But when you retweet it, it goes to your followers. That might grow the eye of someone that might be interested. Donnie, we move on from the morning headlines. A lot of those had nothing to do with sports betting, but they were interesting stories. And again, that's what this show's about. We move to the NFL, a league that had a pretty decent game last night, Donnie. We have the Patriots and Dolphins. And, you know, listen, going into the game, if you would have told me that the Patriots would lose, like always, I tell you, you're nuts. They just don't lose very often. But it was weird seeing them in a losing proposition kind of game. I know they've lost 3 times this year, but I can't seem to remember any of the other losses. That last night seemed like they hadn't lost in years. Look, Tom Brady was dreadful. I mean, on third down, they didn't complete one all game. Miami played well. Jay Cutler, if they're going to win, he has to play really well, and he played really well last night. Probably the best game I've ever seen him play. 263 yards, three touchdowns, no interceptions. The run game was very good, Donnie, and I'm glad it was because I had Kenyon Drake in my fantasy league that you're in, and I needed
Nice.
a big game out of him. But a nice win for the Dolphins. They needed it.
No, you're right. And looking at last night, I mean, the Dolphins aren't going anywhere, but for some reason, if you watch the show again yesterday, we say how many times that New England plays, very well at home, obviously. But for some reason, when they travel down to Miami late in the season, they tend to not play so well and get beat. And one of my favorite quotes last night actually came from Bill Belichick. If you watch the press conference, it's hilarious because it's a lot of one-word answers. But they actually asked Belichick, said, hey, you guys seem to struggle, when you come down here over the past 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. And Bill Belichick actually gave the answer back, Jeff, that we're all looking for as sports gamblers out here. He told the reporter, what does it matter what happened 5 years ago? You're only looking at the football game tonight. And, Jeff, I literally wanted to take that, screenshot it, and just maybe get a tattoo on one of my arms or my back and just say, look, if it's good enough for Belichick, why are you worried about a game 5 years ago? But getting back to
listen,
the
Donnie,
one. Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, I like that point you make. I mean, that's obviously something you and I live by. But I got to tell you, dude, he is a complete hack. He is a dick. He's a piece of shit when it comes to these press conferences. Those journalists in there, they're just doing their job. Okay, I don't.
No, you're right. Him,
understand
they should find him and Popovich like $1 million a press
They
conference.
should.
You know what I mean?
Because
Yeah. That's
the
great.
whole sore loser, I'm not going to talk to the media because I lost. It would be like, it's like when I come on here, and I have come on here after I lose and I'm not happy. I still got to do the show, though. Let's say last night I took Drake and they got crushed by 30 instead of almost winning the game. I would still have to come on the show and give an outlook. I remember when we do the late night on campus, Donnie, we would lose games literally 3 or 4 minutes before. I remember one particularly, Donnie. I had the Rockies. I bet against the Rockies, and somebody hit a grand slam to win the game and covered a run line or some shit. And I remember we didn't come on and do the show after. Wake up.
No, you're right. Look at Sunday. Look at Sunday. I have the Jaguars about melting down late in it, but it's 7:30. Got to go in the air. I'm watching the Eagles, who just lost Wentz and probably can't get to the Super Bowl or win it now.
Exactly.
The show's got to go on, man. That's what we're talking about. Back to last night,
And
Jeff,
this
on
guy,
the Patriots.
yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
No,
No, I
you
was just
got
going
it.
to say back to that Patriots game. The interesting thing that you see, Gronkowski's out. He opens up a lot over the middle, but there are severe deficiencies, Jeff, if we're looking at New England on defense. And you know what? Me and you always bang on this, Jeff. Matt Patricia as the defensive coordinator. First off, you're working off of Bill Belichick, who sets everything in motion. Now, when you're looking at Patricia, like the great job he's done with what he has, Jeff, do you know how good a defensive coordinator you could be? I'll pop the headset on you right now. You give me Tom Brady in that offense, and you can tell me that I'm the greatest defensive coordinator of all time because all we do is win around here. I would be good as well when you have the lead damn near every time. But now you're seeing, a little bit depleted on the front edge. They can't get any pressure on the quarterback. Even though Miami was banged up on the front line, they couldn't expose that. Going forward, that's going to hurt. But I always like that tree, that New England tree that somehow gets out of town and can't do a goddamn thing. Why? Because they don't bring Bill Belichick and Tom Brady with them. If you saw Bill O'Brien's there, he got his, schooling of how great a coach he was because he had Tom Brady. He also went 0-2 in the Super Bowls, Bill O'Brien. Then he's going to get credit for going to Penn State for 1 year and having a 500 team and doing absolutely nothing, getting down in Houston. That whole Belichick tree makes me laugh, going back to Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, your system, Scott Pioli, even the GMs, Jeff, that leave. If you can't take Tom Brady and Belichick, stay away.
Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, the guy's a good coach. He does a nice job year after year. But you lose a game, and that's how you react. And again, settle down, Lamia Saeed. Journalists deserve to be treated like trash. No, they don't, dude. These guys are just regular guys that work a
I think
job like we do.
I think Lamia actually has a point in a way. The non-sports media is straight up hot
Right. Okay.
trash.
Maybe.
The
Yeah.
sports media is
Maybe.
just doing their
Listen.
job asking questions. I hope that's what he means.
Right. If you're talking about you know, Deadspin and places like that, okay,
Yes.
maybe you're
Yeah.
right. They're just looking for a story. Barstool at some points. They're just looking to get clicks. Okay, you're right there. But to say a guy that works for the Wichita Eagle is a sensational guy making things up. Listen, it's funny because Donnie, remember in The Wire that guy Templeton? He was lying to get stories. Remember in season 5?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, maybe there's that certain guy that does that, but again, these are guys that are just going. They're trying to get a story out. They're on a deadline. They need a quote or two to make the story pop, even as it is, even though no one's reading it anyway. And you got to deal with that. I mean, come on. People are scared to ask questions in his press conference. Pretty amazing. Um, but we talk about the game, Donnie, coming up in Pittsburgh. Big game, obviously. I think Pittsburgh's the best team in the AFC, personally, especially after last night. Huge game on Sunday, Donnie. What are you looking for here? What do you got on the line?
No, it's interesting. Yeah, the huge show. I mean, but we have plenty of time to talk about it. But when you want to look at specifics, and we'll get to the seeding, and we and the big man in the next section are going to rank the teams that we think are going to advance far and who has the best shot. Maybe some dark horses out there. But looking at this game in Pittsburgh, it's all on the wire. It's just it's funny, man. You look at last week again. I can't get back to the point. Ravens and Steelers game didn't matter. Game last night, Patriots. Didn't matter in that football game. Both these teams have their divisions locked up and are so far ahead, they're just waiting for playoff seeding. The winner of this football game is going to have that tiebreaker. If the Pittsburgh Steelers go out and ice the New England Patriots this week, which is possible, they're at home and they're a good football team, they're going to take down that top seed. The same way, I mean, that basically would clinch it because you would have a 2-game advantage in the actual standings, but you also would have the tiebreaker from beating them head-to-head. If you take a look at New England going in this football game, they're still a game back in the standings, but if they win, they're de facto have the lead because they're going to have the tiebreaker over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm really looking forward to this game. I know it opened up last night, maybe 2.5 in some range, but you're right. I always like the fact that what people see out there. If you're looking and you're seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what you saw of the Ravens offense is not very good. And they absolutely manhandled that weak Pittsburgh defense without Shazier, Jeff. How about Shazier being back or being out of the football game, and now they turn into mush? Same way the Dallas Cowboys with Sean Lee turn into mush when their middle linebacker signal caller is going to be out. It's going to be an interesting game to see if New England can actually exploit that because you need a good running game. Alex Collins ran wild on Sunday Night Football. You don't really have that type of a running back or a running game for New England Patriots. It'll be interesting, but I'm really looking forward to it.
New England -2 on the road at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Going to be a real fun game. I mean, really kind of a toss-up. Two defenses that have had some trouble. Last night, even with against Miami, New England had some trouble getting stops. I mean, listen, they've been real good lately defensively, but listen, this is going to be about the quarterbacks. I'm not looking to bet against the Steelers at home. It'd be a fun game, which we'll talk about all week, but we look forward to that one coming up. Donnie, how important is the top seed to you?
Very in the AFC, in the NFC, it's a little bit topsy turvy now. We'll get to that, but in the AFC, the top seed means everything because the one thing you don't want to do, Jeff, is you don't want to go to New England in late
Right.
January. And if you ask the Pittsburgh Steelers and you ask Mike Tomlin that all the time, for some reason, Jeff, it's late. Say 17-17 in the fourth quarter. Big 3rd and 2 coming up. Oh my God! All our communication systems are completely out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ask Mike Tomlin. I hope somebody brings up Mike Tomlin this week because it's a great conversation, and I agree 100% with Tomlin every time it comes up. He just says it seems like whenever we go up there, our communications never work at the worst times. 4th and 3, what do? We're going to go for it. All communication systems shut down on their sideline. It's funny the way the Patriots use that to their advantage. Like, we didn't do anything. Just the power's out in here. But the power doesn't go out on the Patriots when they need to get a play call in the football game. You have to have that game at Pittsburgh or anywhere else. If I am actually looking forward to it, Jeff, in the AFC. I want to see the Patriots not get the number 1 seed because they play in the worst division in football over the last 20 years that anybody with their salt would be able to win that time and time again. I want to see the Patriots go on the road and earn it this year.
Dude, I'll tell you what, the AFC is dreadful. I mean, other than the Steelers and the Patriots, I mean, what the hell do you have here? I mean,
Jacksonville's
really?
bringing it up a little bit.
Jacksonville's not winning. They're not winning the Super Bowl. All right. I mean, they're a nice story, but they'll crash and burn. We know it. You know it, and I know it. There's 2 teams here. That's it. It's pretty amazing. Donnie, listen, here's what I'll say. I'll make a bet with you. There's no way Jacksonville Jaguars win more than 1 game in that playoff. None.
Well, I mean, if they win one game, they're probably going to be. They might be in the AFC title game, though. That's pretty good, isn't it?
No, there'll be a. Well, I guess. Maybe you're right, but how do you figure they're going to play in the first weekend, aren't they?
Yeah, but no. If New England loses this game, Jeff, they'll drop to 4 losses, and the Jaguars, who I have pegged to win out, they'll get the 2 seed over New England on tiebreakers.
Interesting point.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jaguars are still only a game up in their division, but they have 2 very winnable games coming up here.
Yeah.
The 49ers and Texans aren't nothing to worry about, really. Just can't slip up. Donnie, we get to the next point of the show, which I'm interested to hear your opinion here. The NFL rankings. A lot has went on. Carson Wentz is gone. We've had some shakeups over the weekend. We rank our NFL seeds 1 to 3 in both conferences, and then we give our little surprise team that could throw it all off. I'll give mine, Donnie, then you can give yours. You're usually better. NFC, I'll go out right now. Eagles, Vikings, Saints. AFC, Steelers, Pats, Jags, which is very straightforward. My surprise team, Seattle. I don't want to play Russell Wilson. Nobody does. He's if you're a playoff team, you don't want to see him coming to your arena.
Yeah, no, you're right. If they can get in the playoffs, they got a tough road coming up. I mean, if you look at the games that they're going to play, they got the Rams this week, and then you're going, which usually would have been an easier victory. You're going to go to Dallas, with Dallas still on the fringe of making the playoffs with Ezekiel Elliott back. So they have a nice little run here. If Seattle's going to get in, they better get hot. But you're looking at some teams that they're going to struggle with on that one. Who do you have in the AFC? Did you go with the AFC team, the sleeper team in the AFC?
I would probably go with the Chargers. I mean, they're playing really well right now. They have a guy that's a fringe Hall of Fame quarterback. Defense has been very good, 3rd in the league in passing defense. Good passing defensive ends as far as Bosa, Melvin Ingram. Good run game with Gordon. I like this team. Keenan Allen looks like an all-pro receiver. This team's playing real well. They're not a team I want to face. Also, they know how to play in close games, Donnie. I mean, this team's always in close games. If they can just win those. Think if this team started out and won a game or 2 that they should have lost, we'd be talking about them as maybe getting that number 2 seed. A great year for the Chargers. Good stuff.
No doubt about it. I'm going to go in the opposite reverse order, I should say. We'll go in the AFC, and you hit it right on the head already, Jeff. If the Chargers get in, they're going to be a problem in the AFC. Can they win the AFC? I mean, outside, they're going to have to do it on the road, which is always hard to do, Jeff, as you know, especially a warm weather team. They're going to have to come east. They're going to have to play in Pittsburgh, in, New England, which it's really hard to win at those times. Both those teams have a really good home field advantage, but the Chargers have all the components, Jeff. Veteran quarterback, solid O-line, good running backs, good wide receivers, get after it pass rushing, athletic linebackers, and a good secondary. And, Jeff, what's the key component when you head down the stretch? What do you need? You need to be hot. And obviously, if they get in the playoffs, Jeff, they're going to be hot. They have a tough game on Saturday, which is going to probably, to me, decide that division because I don't think Oakland's going to be able to get there. Obviously, the Broncos are out. If the Chargers can win that game versus Kansas City, I think they're going to be able to knock on the door and make some hay in the playoffs and certainly give some headaches there. Number 3 team on my list in the AFC, Jeff, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this heading into the playoffs. Not in the 1 seed, not in the 2 seed, but the 3 seed. It's going to depend. I actually think New England early in the week, Jeff, might be able to win this football game. Which again, hear me out on this. Hear me out on this. I think they might be able to get beat by New England, which will drop them down. At Houston and Cleveland, they'll win both of those football games. So my number 2 team coming in here, Jeff, you're going to like this one. And again, I'm ranking Jacksonville based on, a coin flip in this next game because if New England loses, this is going to help my seeding. The Jacksonville Jaguars as the number 2 seed. You saw them. They're going to be able to play. They played tough games all year, just beat a Seattle team who's pretty good, had them on the ropes for most of the game, let them back in, which Russell Wilson's going to do that just about every single time he plays football. Telvin Smith's going to come back. As long as they stay healthy, they get Allen Hurns back, they're going to be hell on wheels. They have a good offensive line, a great running game. If Blake Bortles can just play the same way he's been playing all year long, they're going to be able to suffice because if you remember early in the season, this team went into Pittsburgh and knocked the socks off the Steelers. This is the best defense in the NFL. It's going to be able to travel. How do you get after Tom Brady? Did you see last night, Jeff, what the Miami Dolphins did? Got pressure all over Brady. This is going to be times 5 from a rushing standpoint. And if they can somehow get that 2 seed, they're going to be in that AFC title game. Number 1 overall is New England because it's Tom Brady. They're going to get Gronkowski back. They're probably going to get home field advantage. I don't want to go against that. So my top 3 seeds, Jeff, New England, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh in that order right there. And I'm rooting for the Jaguars. That's my rooting interest in the AFC. If we move it over to the NFC, Jeff. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's everybody's rooting interest, Donnie, in the AFC. I mean, who doesn't want to see Jacksonville win? I mean, honestly, I hate the Steelers and I hate New England. So, of course, I'd love to see Jacksonville win. The NFL doesn't want them to win, though, surely, because who the hell would watch Jacksonville in a Super Bowl? I mean, fucking hell. I mean, no one would watch that. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm rooting for them. Agreed.
It should be a good run because you have the outliers. And again, when you're looking at teams, you're just trying to have fun in the AFC, Jeff. Chargers get hot. I'm rooting for them just because I like the whole scenario. I like the football team. Jacksonville Jaguars are so off the radar there with that nasty defense. And when you think of the Jacksonville Jaguars, just think of all those years. And you really do, Jeff. What do you think of Blake Bortles? Stinks. Oh, my God. If he can just play the same way he is, it's going to be fun. But the NFC coming over, Jeff, my team, I know you have Seattle, which I can see a path for them. It's Russell Wilson. Anytime you have Russell Wilson, you're going to be in every single football game, damn near right down to the wire. Stats say it, and just the eye test. They were getting blown out in Jacksonville, and before you could blink your eye, he's playing street ball, throwing 85-yard touchdowns right off the bat. It's amazing what he can do. But my team, Jeff, is going to be the surprise, will be the Green Bay Packers. If they somehow get Aaron Rodgers back this week healthy, they can run the table, and they're going to run the table against teams they need to beat. The Carolina Panthers this weekend, the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Detroit Lions. It's almost like it's teed up saying, Jesus, how the hell can they get in the playoffs? Well, the problem is they're really hard teams are going to play, Jeff, but there are 3 teams you have to beat, and they're all in the NFC. So if they can run the table and get hot, now you're looking at a healthy Packers team with Aaron Rodgers. We've seen what they can do. Even last year, heading into the playoffs, they didn't have anything. They were so beat up, barely had wide receivers, and Aaron Rodgers is taking them, into the next round of the playoffs. That's going to be a fun thing to watch. Number 3 team, Jeff, as my seed, would be the LA Rams. I just think they're overall a really good football team. The Webster injury at cornerback is going to hurt them, but we've seen that. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with the Eagles. You probably could have argued they should have won that football game, but they were right in it all the way through. Sean McVay's doing a great job. They'll be able to scheme, and they can get pressure on the quarterback, which is key in, obviously, the month of January. Number 2 team, Jeff, going to be your Philadelphia Eagles. The reason I have the Eagles still in that top 1 to 2 seeds is because we have home field advantage, and they're going to have that throughout. The one team, Jeff, now here you go. You ready for this? The Eagles are going to have the top seed. The one team I think would give the Eagles the most problems at Lincoln Financial Field in the playoffs, Jeff, can you take a guess?
The Saints, which I don't disagree. If you're going to say Minnesota, you're nuts.
Nope.
Minnesota's not. Well, Donnie, but this is about right now. I can't see who is better than Eagles right now in the NFC. I don't see it. Who is it, Donnie? Tell me.
No, I have the Eagles are going to get home field advantage. I have them in the top 2 seeds. I mean, I still think
but who's number 1?
Elite level.
I got to hear
the
that.
team. It's going to be cold weather. It's going to be windy. It's going to be a nasty front 7 that's going to be healthy and guys back from suspension. Nope, not Green Bay. They don't have a nasty front 7. They have a quarterback that can run at will and has a cannon that can fire through. They just had a monster win this weekend over an NFC rival, which helped the Eagles out. That would be
Oh,
the
Carolina. No.
Carolina
Stop it,
Panthers,
Donnie.
Jeff.
Come on. Come on with
Number
this.
one seed heading
Stop.
in. I mean, they're not going to be the number one seed, but the way it breaks down, I think they can win the division. And that's the one football team. If you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you do not want to see Lincoln Financial Field. They can do everything that can hurt the Eagles. Nick Foles is slow. He's slow out there. Carson Wentz was able to beat that, but he was still under siege
Their
in that
defense
game versus the
stinks.
Panthers. Whose
Their
defense
secondary
stinks?
stinks, Donnie.
Yeah, but how are you going to? Yeah, but you have to be able to move on your launch points. Carson Wentz can get out of that front four and that fast, linebacking core. Nick Foles is going to be sitting in that pocket under siege that entire football game. And that's what the Carolina Panthers can bring to the table. And if it's cold weather, you're going to have a quarterback that can run around and make plays a la what Russell Wilson did versus the Philadelphia Eagles. If there's the one team that can give them the single most problems, it's the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I
There you
don't
go,
know
Jeff.
about that. I think it's the New Orleans Saints if it's anybody, but I don't think they're going to come in and beat the Eagles. They did a couple years ago. I remember that one. But look, the NFC's tough. I mean, you almost wish the Eagles were in the AFC for Christ's sakes. But yes, it's very important. As I've mentioned, they have to get home field advantage. I mean, it's clearly huge.
They got it.
Uh,
I mean, they're one win by the Philadelphia Eagles this week. You beat the Giants. You already clinch a bye. If you win 2 out of the last 3, it doesn't matter in any scenario, you get in. If you win against the Giants and Minnesota loses 1 time down the stretch, you automatically get the top seed. So everything broke well for the Eagles. They will be the top seed in there, which is actually good, Jeff, because when you revert it back to Nick Foles and getting this football team ready, and even the third-string quarterback is Sudfeld. Say what you want. I mean, he's not going to make any difference, but at least in that third game when you already have it clinched against the Cowboys, Jeff, you can rest Nick Foles out there. You can play Sudfeld 4 quarters. Have fun out there, kid, because if I need you and Foles gets banged up and misses a series or 2, at least he's going to have that NFL game under his belt. Everything's breaking the right way since Wentz is going to be out the way it went Sunday, and with the victory over the Rams, the Eagles will have the top seed in the NFC.
right. But there is a whole list of teams, Donnie, that can beat them. You really I also want to make a point, Donnie. Someone was talking about the Jags of Bortles and how
Yeah.
he's a game manager, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And he is. I'm not going to disagree with you, but the key, and this is why Leonard Fournette was the best draft pick for them, and the best draft pick arguably for his team. He takes so much off of that running game. Takes so much off Blake Bortles, and you look at Bortles. He's having a career year, Donnie, for his level. Uh, Getting a running back in there was great, and that's what the Eagles are going to have to do now. They're going to have to take a page out of that book in Jacksonville, because that's what Nick Foles is. Nick Foles is not going to win you a football game on his own like Carson Wentz could. You're not going to have to lean on the run game, and you're going to have. Listen, Donnie, if you can't beat these 2 teams to go to the playoffs, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs and get the number 1 seed. They're going to be in the playoffs regardless. It's just if they're going to be at home during that or they're not going to be. And that's what you really have to respect about Jacksonville, Donnie. The fact that they've been able to put Blake Bortles in a position where he doesn't have to do too much.
Yeah, I mean, and that all leans back on the defense, Jeff. When you go out there knowing you have the best defense in football, and they basically, hey, look, just make the easy play. Punting is not a bad option. And the one thing that always gets glossed over with Bortles, the one thing he can do, Jeff, he's a pretty athletic quarterback. Most people don't get to watch a lot of Jacksonville games, but he can scramble and picks up a lot of those third down runs, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, like a Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton will be. He can do that. And you're right. They lean on that front running game to be power and physical. Allen Hurns will be back. Telvin Smith should be back. I'm looking forward to the Jacksonville Jaguars heading into the playoffs, Jeff. But enough with the NFL. They show
real
moves
quick,
on.
real quick, Don.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Real quick, Don. I just want to involve the chat here. And here's what's great about the NFL playoffs also. The good teams, if you're the number 1 seed, get almost beat in front of you, so you don't have to deal with them. Gary's mentioning they won't get to that game, the Panthers. We have a couple people. New Orleans and Minnesota will play Philadelphia. I agree, Gary. Gary says it's a good conversation, fun discussion. Thank you, Gary. Glad you're enjoying it. My Saints are worried about Vikings, could beat other teams. Breeze played Big Ten cold weather. I have no fear of that squad outdoors. Yeah, I hear you on that. And he did come into Philly a couple years ago, Donnie, and beat the Eagles. Bortles has made some big plays this year. He definitely has. Donnie, one other thing before we go, I wanted to read a poignant thing I read in the Daily News. And tell me this isn't going to get you excited for the Eagles. Listen to this, Donnie.
Go.
To be fair, this is from Marcus Hayes, who I haven't always liked, but I got to tell you, he's really turned it around. I think he's done a great job reporting lately. To be fair, Wentz's toughness, strength, and mobility masked the deficiencies along the offensive line. Wentz's talents often hid the receiver's inability to get open. The line will have to play better, and the receivers will have to be sharper. But they have 3 weeks and probably a bye week to get that done. That's a month. If you can't get better in a month, you don't deserve to win a playoff game. Wentz is wonderful, but he isn't Michael Jordan or LeBron. He's not Rodgers or Brady. Not yet. The way Roseman built this team, he hasn't had to be. That's how great teams are built, and this is still a great team. So how about that, Donnie? Marcus Hayes does a great job. Philadelphia Daily News, very good article, and he's right. That's totally how good teams are built. And you look at the Patriots. Brady's a great quarterback. They have a lot of other players that do things well also. And again, we'll see what Nick Foles has to offer. It's going to be fun. Getting first place is the big thing, Donnie, though. We move on from the NBA. Donnie, lead us off.
Yeah, man, let's go hitting the hardwood there. College basketball action yesterday, Jeff, in a sea of, I don't want to say tranquility out there, but in a sea of nonsense yesterday. Not a lot to pick and choose from on the card. I was following some of the scores. I saw one team down like 50, 60, 70 points at one time. Couldn't believe I was even looking at an NCAA basketball game there with Northwestern. But I know, Jeff, you did pick up a victory yesterday. I believe it was Drake plus 20 yesterday.
Yeah, Drake plus 20. They lost by 1 point. Great game. Great play. Yeah, I broke it down the way I thought it would happen. When you're taking, Donnie, big underdogs, i.e., 20-point dogs or more on the road, there are 3 things you want to look for, and it's very rudimentary, but it works. You have to find out, does the team have a player that could take a game over? Drake has that in Reed Timmer. 22 points a game, fantastic shooter. Number 2, does the team shoot free throws? Yes, 79%. You look at 2 of Drake's players, shoot it at over 85%, Donnie. And number 3, can they hit 3-point shots to stay in games? Can they get a 3-pointer when you hit a 2-pointer? Can they kind of level off the playing field, if you will? Because we're not asking them to win. We're just asking for them to keep up. Drake, a 42% team from behind the arc. They're well coached. Their coach, Nico Medved, played at Minnesota. It was just a great spot, especially for a Drake team against Minnesota, who really since that Alabama game hasn't looked very good. They're a dreadful defensive team, Minnesota. They cannot stop anybody. A lot of points. If you laid it, sorry. But yeah, last night it was a night of the big wins. But do shout out Texas Southern. The SWAC had a nice outing last night, losing by 6 to mighty Oregon. But yes, not a good night, Donnie, as far as games were concerned.
And we've taken a look tonight, Jeff. Got a couple games on the docket we want to go over. Michigan versus Texas on the rotation, 529, 530. The Fighting Shaka Smarts here. Line opened up at 6, Jeff. Now sitting at 5 pretty much across the board. A low total on the over-under. Chris opened up at 126. Has been bet up a little bit to just under 130. Now sitting at 129.5. Michigan, Texas, Jeff. Lead us off here.
Yeah, the total's low because both these clubs are real good defensively, particularly Texas, who, yeah, obviously with Muhammad Bamba, they're very good down low. And I think that's one of their big issues tonight, Michigan. First of all, they're coming off a big win, a game against UCLA that was a long game. It was a nice win, but it took a lot out of them, I feel like. They got to go on the road down to Austin to play Texas, who, look, I mean, Texas this year is a little bit more dangerous because in other years, they've always had a good defense, but they haven't had a particularly good offensive showing. This year, they're scoring points, they're shooting well from the field. You look at that, 47%. They could definitely score with Michigan. The problem that Michigan has is while they're good defensively, they're nowhere near as good as Texas. They also have had issues, Donnie, shooting the 3 ball this year, Michigan, which is kind of weird. Usually they're very good from that standpoint. They haven't been good this year, and they're facing a team in Texas who only allows opponents to shoot 26.5% from 3. So I think Texas is really just against Michigan. It's going to make it difficult to score in this game, and thus the total being so low. You also look at both these teams. Both these teams are horrific from the free throw line. Both shoot it under 63%. I think this is a game played. The total, you don't have a lot of room for wiggle room here. I don't know if this game's played in the I think it stays in the 60s, the low 60s, but you don't have a lot of wiggle room here, frankly. You need a game in the 62, 55 type of range, which I just don't know that we have. You still have decent offensive clubs here. If these teams can make some free throws, I would think this will get over 130, 129. But it is a very low total. This one could be 21-17 at half. I'm just in the notion, Donnie, that these teams are too good offensively to be held under this 129-point number. I do think this is just a little too low.
Gotcha. Next up here, Jeff, 545, 546, Albany and Memphis. And if you're new to the game or you don't really follow that much college basketball and you look across the lines, Jeff, a pick 'em. Most people say, what? Albany, Memphis is a pick 'em over under sitting now, just opened up at Bet Online, 140.5. Very light wagering on this one. 57% of those early tickets coming in on Memphis. To me, not a surprise, just a name versus a non-name. Jeff, what are you looking at Albany here? And can they give Memphis all they can handle?
Yeah, a lot of people are going to look at this game, I feel like, and say, wow, Albany's a pick 'em on the road at Memphis. But you have to do your work here and realize Albany is a very good mid-major. They always are, they always will be, and they're just well coached. They do a great job of recruiting there up at Albany, the Great Danes with Will Brown. And they have two guards, Nichols and Cremo, that are really good. I mean, they're not going to get any credit because they play at Albany, but the truth of the matter is they score 18 and 17. They're very good. They're able to lead a club here. And look, this is a big game for Albany. They're going to take this one serious. Anytime you play a bigger team like a Memphis, you're going to get up for it. And this is the biggest game of the season for this group. You go into Memphis. You've played a lot of good games this year, but this is the game you circle. The one against Louisville coming up as well. Um, Memphis is an okay team. I've had a lot of just poor luck, Donnie, betting against Memphis this year. I've taken them I bet against them two different times this year against opponents similar to Albany, and at a pick 'em lost. One of them was against Mercer, a game in which Memphis, who is a horrible foul shooting team, shot 30 for 34 from the line, and were able to get the win and cover. It was a tough loss. Um, I lean Albany here, but I got to be real, Donnie. I'd prefer to get some points in this game. Pick'em's just kind of a tough number. You're basically asking Albany to go in and beat Memphis. Look, Albany's a really good team, and they're a team that really will bother you on the court. They do all the little things. They shoot the ball well. They're good at the free throw line. They're not going to make mistakes. I would I think Albany will win, but you have to remember when you're dealing with a team like Memphis, you do have athleticism over a team like Albany. And you look at Memphis, I mean, in their games that were pretty tough mid-major wise, they were able to get the job done. I'd prefer to get 2, 3, 4 points here out of Pick'em. It's tough. I lean Albany though.
All right, there you go, Jeff. And then the last section I always like to give you there, sort of off topic, sometimes even like to surprise you with these, off the radar BMOC. As we know, every day you can't have 10 bell games, Jeff. We can't go two top 25 teams and, there's 5 of those games each and every night. Sometimes you got to go off the grid where some people aren't looking, Jeff. I'm looking at games out here, Jacksonville State, Oregon State, Murray State, St. Louis, Fordham, Rutgers. Give us one of these off the grid games tonight, which you might be able to make some money off, or at least give us an angle that says, you know what, be on the lookout for this game. It could be a pretty good viewing one.
Well, I would definitely be on the lookout for Jacksonville State, Oregon State. This is a tough ask, though, for the Gamecocks to go up to Corvallis and play a Pac-12 team who is better than
Tinkle.
they were last year. Yeah, Trace Tinkle, who's the best player on the court in this game. You also have to take a look. Will Giga play for Jacksonville State? He was limited in the game against UL Monroe over the weekend. It'll be interesting if he doesn't play. I don't like Jacksonville State. But the truth is, Ray Harper's team's really good. They're great on the defensive end. They do a good job of shooting the basketball. They're a team when Oregon State's laying points, I'm gonna always be interested in the other side. But this is a tough ask. I want to know that Giga's playing before I do anything. For me, I'm looking at that one. Murray State St. Louis is a really interesting game from the sole fact of Donnie, the line is just really low. I mean, Murray State is a way better team than St. Louis. I mean, in all aspects. I mean, Murray State's a good foul shooting team. They're great defensively. They have a huge rebounding advantage over the Billikens. They're just a better team, and they're good on the road. I mean, they've won both road games this year, covered both of them as well. This is a weird line. Seems a really low. I like Murray, but they're always in those lines spots where it looks like a trap. But Murray looks like the play, but it's definitely a real weird line. But yeah, there's some good ones here. There's some off the radar ones tonight, Donnie. Yale Iona is interesting. Yale without Makai Mason. Monmouth Princeton's a good New Jersey battle. Boston College off the big Duke win, get a bad Columbia team. Can they take care of business there? There are some interesting ones. And then, Donnie, tomorrow night, what do we got? We got the big one
Yep.
at the Lee Court Center. Temple Owls taking on the Villanova Wildcats, the number one team in the country, coming into North Philadelphia. I'm pumped up for that one, Donnie.
Number one team in the nation, 7 p.m. start. You know, it's kind of funny, Jeff. I've seen a lot of basketball teams and a lot of college basketball teams. I actually don't think I've ever seen the number one team in college basketball play live. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I was hoping that's how we get it. Yesterday we were talking about the number one rankings, and I was
Hmm.
concerned Villanova wouldn't get it and it'd be Michigan State, but it's definitely interesting. And listen, Fran Dunphy is a great coach. Okay, I vilify him sometimes because he can be irritating, but he's a great coach. And Donnie, every year they beat a ranked team. So, keep that in mind. We'll talk about that one tomorrow. I'm excited for it. We'll get you. Oh, actually, we won't be talking about it tomorrow, Donnie. We'll have to talk about it on the roundtable for 3 or 4 minutes. We'll try to get that in. Donnie, we
Yep.
have to wrap it up here in a minute or two.
Yep.
Which, by the way, we started a little bit late today, so we should get an extra 2 or 3 minutes
Leave them
here.
wanting more,
That's a
Jeff.
little.
Leave them wanting more. What do you say we could? You got the NBA Play of the Day, which we're going to set up right now. Last time, an easy outright winner on the Lakers +8. What do you say we end the show right now, Jeff, and don't give the play out? Would that be popular?
We do have 8 minutes. I guess I was reading that wrong. No, I guess that would be a popular thing. And Donnie, it's funny. This is kind of a funny segment because many of you know we don't talk about the NBA a ton on here, but I have decent success betting the NBA in spots. So I'm kind of looking at it from that standpoint. But Donnie, I'm actually going to give a game out tonight. I actually like
Let's
this
do
one.
it. Yes. Go.
I think the general consensus in markets are the Lakers aren't any good. No one likes the Lakers, which is fine. I get that. But I want to get in bed with those teams. Those are the teams I want to bet on. And the truth of the matter right now, the Lakers are playing pretty good basketball. They've won 2 in a row. They have a pretty decent team. They have a deep team, which I believe they're going to do some damage this year. I really do. This Knicks team, whenever they're laying points, I'm interested. Maybe betting against them. Lakers getting 3.5 here. I mean, you look at this Lakers team. I mean, everyone's playing well. Ingram's starting to look like that pick we thought he'd be. Caldwell Pope's been great at the two guard position. Ball hasn't scored points, but he's 9 assists. It seems like every game he has 8 or 9 assists off the bench. Kuzma's been a rookie of the year candidate. Randall's played great. Clarkson as well. He had 22 against Charlotte. I'm going to take the Lakers in an underdog role here, getting 3.5. Another interesting one that I'm considering, Donnie. The
Mhm.
public loves the Sixers. You look at this line, open 6.5, immediately bet down to 5.5. I don't know. I'd imagine that's public money. They love the Sixers. Joel Embiid's back, I'd imagine, tonight. It's going to be a tough matchup against Willie Cauley-Stein. This is going to be, or not Willie Cauley-Stein, Karl Anthony Towns. This is going to be a great game at ESPN. Two young teams playing each other, Philly, Minnesota. So that one's intriguing. We'll see how the line goes in that one. But for me, kind of leaning on those Lakers tonight, Donnie, plus 3.5.
Yeah, you're looking at the early line movements there in Minnesota. Both games I'm looking at, 5.5 was the opening line for me. Looks like 5.5 across the board. And you're right, 65% of those early ticketed wagers betting for the 76ers on the road here. So that one should be an interesting one. But always fun. We'll slide down that box one more time, hitting the chat box. We would take a question or two, Jeff, before we get out of here if anybody wants to chime in. But always a lot of fun shows that we do. And again, this is midweek. The thing I love about the show, the thing that Jeff loves about the show, we can come in and talk topics. I love to talk topics. We can all break down games and go over every single thing in the book for us. But that first thing in the morning, I love going over things, hearing the live chat box come back and pop, whether or not you like, Lonzo Ball or, LeVar Ball, whoever it is, or just coming in and talking, top seeds in the NFL and some prognostications down the line. Loved it. It's a lot of fun. And the live chat box does a lot. So if you have any questions real quick for us before we get out of here, would love to answer
Donnie,
them for you there.
if the line still goes where I think it's going to go, if the line keeps going down for the Sixers, I'll be on
Yeah.
Minnesota, definitely. If that line keeps going down, Minnesota's a pretty good team at the end of the day. The public loves the Sixers. Matt Varnum's asked for a 2-hour show, question mark. I would do it, but I know they have other shows that we got to do here. Tony Soprano's enjoying cannoli dessert with ricotta cream filling and Rufino Chianti Classico Reserve Ducate. I love it. Very good, Tony.
Yeah, Tony
Nice to
Soprano is
hear.
really upset about the Batelli guy getting down. Tony's got to be really upset about that. Hope it doesn't affect his gravies out there on the market, Jeff.
Yeah, I also heard that Tony was involved with the football pool we were talking about, but we're supposed to keep that quiet. Would you rather have an elephant-sized dog or a dog-sized elephant? Um, I'd
Give me a
rather have a dog-sized
dog-sized elephant.
elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I would love to have that.
Yeah.
It'd be like a little Alabama mascot.
Yeah,
Has
exactly.
anyone
Dress them up a
ever
little bit.
Billy T, has anyone ever done a study on line movements? What's the percentage of line movements being correct? No, but I'd imagine they're probably not that good. Maybe in the NFL. That's about it. Uh, Lakers play at home is fair, kind of evenly matched game. Still think the Knicks win. Well, they can win. Just keep it close. We'll go one or two more here.
Mhm.
Jared Jack sucks, says Cal 77 Bear.
Hmm.
Good point. He has been a decent pro and he's made a lot of money. So I guess for Jared Jack, it's not even about sucking. I mean, he's been good. We'll do one more, Donnie. Joe Duffy, offshoreinsiders.com. Andrew G coming in. I guess he has Joe Duffy on the mind. Joe
Hmm.
Duffy.
Yeah, so Joe
Do you
Duffy
wear
might be
Ugg?
off this weekend for the tailgate party on Sunday. Some family
Yes,
obligations.
I'm actually going to announce that. It's Joe Duffy from offshoreinsiders.com. Just wanted to let everyone know no tailgate party this weekend with the lack of college games and my ability to go on vacation this weekend. We're going down to Daytona Beach in South or North Florida. We're going down for a family vacation. So, again, no Joe Duffy's tailgate party. We'll be back next week. Everybody enjoy your holiday. Make sure you head over to the website. We got High Cotton's High Forensic Play of the Year in college basketball. We'll take a look at the Missouri, Kansas City, and the Chicago State game. Everyone have a great day. This has been Joe Duffy, offshoreinsiders.com. BMOC, back to you. Thanks, Joe.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
BMS. Jeff, before we get out of here, like we'll give the people a pep talk. We want to win some money tonight. We only have about a minute left, Jeff. In your best
Yeah.
impression of a certain coach down south that loves to eat gumbo, send us out of here.
Okay, Donnie. I'm going to give out player of the day here. We got a big game against the Citrus Bowl, and we got Notre Dame coming in. We're excited for it. We got to head down to Camping World Stadium down in Disney World. We got the big game. We hope we can get out of Disney World because they got plenty of great things down there. Epcot. I know they got that little area where you can go visit different countries. I might have to try chicken on a stick in Korea. That might be good, Donnie. What do you think? We're gonna go with the game we talked about a little earlier. We're going to go with the LA Lakers. I'm not a big Lavar Ball fan, but I'm a big fan of Lonzo Ball. We're going to go with the Lakers plus 3.5 on the road at New York. Everybody have a great day. Go Tigers.
There we go. And that'll do it for the show tonight, folks. Thanks for checking in. Check out SBRodds.com. Follow us at SBR Sports Picks on Twitter and also on the YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. That'll do it for today. I'm Donnie RightSide. He's the big man on campus. Check us out tomorrow on the Roundtable. Be here bright and early, 10 a.m. Eastern Time.